welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Ashley. Today I'm going to be talking about how I bought a Canon 700D. I believe it's also called the Rebel T5i. I bought this when it was relatively new on the market, I think, and I bought it based off what people used to vlog at the time, but then I never ended up vlogging. So now, from what I gather, it's a really outdated camera, and I had no idea how to use it. So this is all the clips and everything that I compiled from me learning how to use it, and I'm using it right now. I'm not teaching you how to use the camera today. I'm pretty much vlogging me figuring out what to do with this. There is 101 videos on this camera, so if that's what you're looking for, look away now. You will be disappointed. I'm not going to waste your time. Seriously. Okay, I now know how to start recording a video. I don't know how to mess with the settings when it's facing me, but it's a start. Okay, I don't really know that I need to mess with the settings. I do really like that in the Blackmagic camera app on my phone, that it's got like the color graph, and I can kind of tell what I need to adjust by that. But this, I'm just looking at myself in the viewfinder, so I don't really know. I have this Canon just sitting here doing nothing when I'm filming with an iPhone front camera. I know, of course, the back camera is better on the iPhone, but I've since learned how much better, especially in terms of video for YouTube. I haven't posted anything from the iPhone back camera yet. When I bought this camera, I really wanted to do YouTube. I think this was in like 2014 or 2015 or something. I actually found a couple of clips from when I started trying, and I think I was filming like at night in my parents' study, and it just looks, it looks so funny. I don't even want to watch the video yet. Maybe I'll watch it for, like, in a future video I might do like a reaction or something. Oh my god. Even just the thumbnail of it, I'm cringing. I really wish I had just learnt that I don't need a big expensive ring light. I don't need a big expensive softbox light, whatever. If I'm just starting out, just use the camera you've got. Just use the lighting you've got. I'm using God's light today. Sunlight from a window. It's fine. If I didn't have a DSLR, I don't think I would buy a DSLR. I know I wouldn't buy a DSLR at this point in my filming YouTube. But since I've already got it, I need to learn how to use it. I am a lot more confident now, having looked it up. I'm a lot more confident that I know nothing. Now that I've looked everything up. I can see how much I don't know. First thing I did was I asked ChatGPT, what can you tell me about the Canon 700D? It said a whole heap of specs that I don't really understand. Something about it being affordable on the secondhand market, but it also says no 4K video. I don't have the file space for 4K video anyway, and I'm only new, so that's really not important to me. But it does say it's really good for content creators starting out with basic photo and 1080p video. That's me. So next I asked, could you tell me more about the features and how to use it? From this I learned that there's different types of autofocus. Maybe that's something I'll play around with later. It told me a little bit about the different modes at the top. It also mentions in the ChatGPT output that I can do 60 frames per second for slow motion, so that might actually be really good for B-roll, but B-roll's a lot easier on the iPhone and that works fine, so I don't know that I'll really use it for that. The only thing that's really new to me is the idea of using a microphone, which I'm sure as you're listening to this is echoing a bit. Something I'm interested in, but we'll start out here. But that's a good point. I did learn, I'll insert a clip here of the camera. Basically the button that takes the picture is not the same for video. So there's a button on the back that actually switches from the viewfinder to the digital screen, and that is also the record button. So that is a little bit annoying because this is facing me, so I don't know why I'd want it on the other side. And I feel like it could have just been incorporated into that shutter button. I feel like a video like this would have been really helpful for me because I really was apprehensive about picking this up and doing this research. It just felt like such a huge job. So hopefully it's helpful for someone else. If not, hopefully it's at least somewhat entertaining. So something that annoyed me when I first bought this camera is the fact that I can't take photos and videos off it over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. There is no capability for that on this camera. And so I was kind of almost hoping that I could find that when I was looking up information. But, spoiler alert, no. However, when I'm moving files from the SD card, it is super quick. I have an SD card to USB-C adapter now anyway, so it is really easy for me to just plug it straight into the computer. And just taking things off the SD card is so much quicker, I think, than Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So although that was really frustrating to me when I first bought it, didn't do enough research about the camera and assumed that it had all those capabilities. That was really frustrating to me. Realistically, I think it's so much easier to take things off with the SD card anyway, so I'm happy with that. So after ChatGPT, I started looking at YouTube videos, and the first couple that I watched were just like beginner guides to the camera. What I need to know, I think, is more of an in-depth knowledge. I can take a picture with this, I can take a video with this, but I just don't know how to make it better. Over half the buttons I don't really understand, but the buttons that are in the beginner videos seem to be the ones that I do understand. So I do, I guess, have a basic knowledge of this camera, but I've got a long way to go, and I'm not really sure where to find. There's an ISO button. I don't even fully understand what ISO is, so yeah, very beginner. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Yeah, nothing new yet. We'll see. So then I moved on to more advanced videos, and watching through these, I definitely became more familiar. So the more advanced videos, I felt like they weren't helpful because I needed the settings, but they were helpful because I feel like I was treating some of the buttons on the camera like I can't touch them or the camera will blow up. So I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. So the video I just watched was talking about Cine style, which I've never heard of before, but I think what it basically is like a custom settings pack or something that you can download onto the camera, and it tweaks the settings in that way, whatever this file has. Hopefully I didn't just download a virus, but I did struggle to find the actual file because the website that they mentioned, that other people mention in blog posts, that website doesn't still have that file on their website available. So I found a Reddit post, and in the comments, someone actually posted a link to like a web archives thing. I've never seen this before. And now I'm thinking, maybe we could use this to get back on Club Penguin. I don't know how the internet works. Does it work like that? First issue is that website that has that file, that company that made that file, they no longer have it on their website. Then I found it and solved that issue. Then my next problem was that the EOS utility app, I don't know if it ever connected to the 700D/Rebel T5i, but it doesn't now. There is no software available on their website. I actually found some discs in my camera bag that look to be like a software disc. However, it's a different software, but maybe it does the same thing. But then I don't have a disk drive. And if I've ever had one, I've lost my cable to connect my camera to my computer. So when I started looking up the price of external disk drives and of that cable, I bought the cable. It was like $4 or $5. But the external disk drive, I just decided that these settings aren't really worth it. I'm just gonna film on the auto, figure that out, and if I want to tweak it myself, I'll tweak it myself, but I don't need film quality. There were also some people commenting online saying that it made their film look really grainy, and then they were troubleshooting there, so I thought it might just introduce more issues. So I'm just gonna go for auto. I also learned, I know there's two outlet ports. One's like a mini USB and one's a mini HDMI. The mini USB does all the things it needs to do. The mini HDMI is for like streaming, but not for file transfer. I'm just gonna get the mini USB. So, in conclusion, I'm still going to use the auto modes. I'm not all of a sudden some wildly amazing photographer or videographer, filmographer, whatever it is. I'm not all of a sudden gonna be like a camera whiz, but I feel like I understand enough of this camera to not be scared of it, and I will absolutely be using it more in the future. However, that means now storage space is a major issue because these videos are taking up a lot of space, and I don't have that much space. My SD card is 8 gigabytes. My laptop has a bit on it, but I can only store them in there for so long. My hard drive that I have is a WD, I don't know what that stands for, but it's not compatible with Mac. I alternate between Mac and Windows, so I need one that is compatible for both, which I can absolutely find. I could reformat this one, however, there's all these photos and videos and old backups from when I was a kid, so I just don't even want to touch it. So that means I need a new hard drive or solid state drive. Definitely a portable one. I want one that doesn't plug in for sure, but the smaller the better. I think for travel, I'll probably end up doing an SSD. However, for longevity, I like the idea of a hard drive. But then if I do travel with a hard drive and it gets knocked around, I'm a bit worried about the disc, whatever's in there. I'm a bit worried about the moving parts if I travel. I might do a smaller SSD first, and then down the line, as I'm running out of space on that, if I run out of space, I will run out of space on that. I will then buy a larger hard drive and then just use the SSD for what I'm using at the time. So that way, if I'm not using the hard drive, then it's not, I don't know the word, decaying? Like, it's not, over time, I want to say decay, I don't know the word. Degrade. Over time, your hard drive's going to degrade, or your SSD is going to degrade. However, from what I've read, I might be incorrect, let me know if I am, the hard drive, if it's not plugged in, it's not degrading. So as long as I'm not using it for long-term storage, the hard drive is better. So yes, I think I've made my decision then. I'll start with a small SSD, and I'll do a larger hard drive when I run out of space or when I can afford it. The 8GB SD card is really not working. Even in filming these sections for this video, I've taken the videos off like twice already, so I really need a bigger one, and I think that will be my first priority, is getting a larger SD card. It was so expensive when I bought it, and now it is just dirt cheap. I was looking at a couple of sites and I actually couldn't even find an 8GB SD card. Maybe this will be a relic. I'm pretty sure I have like 128MB SD card somewhere. I think the next place I'll be going is a museum, so I'll hold on to them until they call. So I have a couple more things to do before this becomes a very smooth process for me. But like I've mentioned like a gazillion times, I'm really new to YouTube. So far, it's been so fun. So I'm really enjoying learning, and I'm very happy to invest time and brain capacity. But I'll wait to spend money as long as I can. It is very easy to spend a lot of money on cameras and all the subscriptions. So I'm going to try and hold off on spending money as much as I can. And I think the way I'm going to do that, I'll start with the SD card, SSD drive, hard drive, whatever. And then maybe down the track, if I'm still doing this in a year or so, then I'll consider a camera. Watch me buy it in a couple of months. I'm so interested to find out when I end up buying. I'm 100% one day I will buy a DJI Osmo. Because I'm enjoying this so much, I really can't imagine not enjoying it down the track. But I want to commit to using this camera for as long as possible. I want to hold on, and then eventually I'll buy a little treat. Do it for the plot. I'm getting hungry. It's well past lunchtime now. I'm getting hungry. I feel like I've said everything I want to say. I don't know if this is at all entertaining or helpful, but I feel like this is the kind of video that would have been helpful for me when I was approaching this camera. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, it helps so much. And if you have any tips, tricks, whether it's about YouTube, editing, the camera, this specific camera, using an iPhone as a camera, I don't mind, please leave it down below in the comments. That would be super helpful. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Here is another video of mine that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. See you soon.